9:30 cotton cut time, but Kim's out of town this week.
But we still have a great show for you this week.
If you missed the Under the Sea PMQ show,
You can learn all about it right now.
okay, hold up. What about the giveaway?
Be sure to stay to the end of the show for the giveaway question.
All right. Now we're going to talk about our main event today. And so that is Under the Sea. And so I know a lot of you like to tune in to kind of get some information about the Under the Sea colorways and get some insider tips and tricks about which colors might be more important than others. And so that's what today's show is. When it gets closer to us actually shipping the boxes, we'll kind of break it down and go over the process of how the mystery quilt works. But today is the introduction to the program and the introduction to the new Under the Sea colorways. All right, so Under the Sea, if you guys can believe it, is our 18th puzzle mystery quilt. We partnered with this program with Sheila Christensen, who is in New Zealand. Sheila has been doing it for 25 times. And so she used to own a quilt shop. She's retired from that. And she would run this mystery out of her shop. She would cut everything and do 10 months of clues and get it out to her lovely community. And she wanted someone to partner with to bring it to the United States. And I was naive enough to be like, sure, we'll buy some die cutters and some dies. And 18 mysteries later, here we are. We always pick a theme based upon the quilt design. When we look at the quilt design and we start mocking it up in different colorways, we look for design elements that pop to us. And in this one, Sheila really hinged on a design element that looks kind of like a stingray, that looks kind of like some underwater kind of flowy elements. And we decided to pick an Under the Sea colorway. Now, every time we pick a theme, people always ask a question like, are all the fabrics going to be sea life? Are they all going to be reef? Are they all going to be sea colors? And that's not the case at all. Under the Sea just is a title that gives us something to kind of collect around and to name our colorways, to give our quilts personality, to add more depth to the program versus every colorway having to have sea life in the fabrics. Just like we just finished Wild West. We didn't have any cowboy hats. We didn't have any spurs, but the design itself was very, very much Western in theme. It was very Southwest. And now that we've had the reveal, you guys can see those elements to it. And as we were talking about the final design, it was very Southwest in theme, which is what led us to the Wild West for the name of the quilt. Okay, so what is it? And so this is, for those of you guys that are new, it is a 10-month pre-cut mystery program. So we pre-cut all the triangles, all the squares, all the strips, and each month you make what we call puzzle pieces. So I know in a traditional block of the month scenario, you go to a quilt shop and, hey, here's this 12-inch block and we're going to make it this month and set it aside. And then here's our 12-inch block and we set it aside. And here's our 12-inch block and we set it aside. That is not what this program is at all. In month one, you're going to be making triangles and squares and strips. You're going to be making pieces, 3 or 4 pieces, and then you set them aside. And then the second month, you're going to make 3 or 4 other pieces, and you set them aside. And you continue that. And in month 10, we tell you to connect one of the pieces from month 1 to one of the pieces from month 7 and to one of the pieces from month 8. And so it is purely a puzzle piece. When you get to month 9, a lot of people like to take those puzzle pieces. We've got puzzlers in this group that like their puzzles. And so people have laid it out on the wall and see how they could interconnect and see how they could make a finished quilt, because it is definitely, it's puzzle mystery quilt for a reason, because you're making puzzle pieces that then fit together at the end to make a finished quilt design. Let's see here. And it remains a mystery. We've had, again, 18 mysteries. So I feel like that has to be like over 30,000 people have participated. I feel like I'm doing the math correctly. Over 30,000 people have participated, and less than 10 have actually guessed the final design correctly at the end, which is bonkers, but it's just part of the program, right? We want to keep you guessing till the end. If you could guess it like at month 7, I feel like it's like if you're reading a book and you know how it's going to end, by the time you get 2/3 of the way through, you don't finish it. We want you guys to finish these quilts. We want you guys to love them and enjoy them. One of the other things about the mystery quilt is it's multiple colorways, and we're about to review the colorways for Under the Sea. But this one, and I say this every time, and I feel like a broken record, and I'm really sorry when I say it, but this one, the different colorways truly do look very different. And depending on the colorway choice, certain design elements pop more than others. And I like that as a participant, as a detective in this program, you can do more than one colorway and have quilts that, you know, the average person would say are two completely different designs, but it's literally just colorway choice that make the quilt look so different. All right, so who is this puzzle mystery quilt best for? So it's best for, and I definitely describe this person. Who is best? It's best for the busy quilter, right? I did the puzzle mystery quilt when I had a full-time job, and I had maybe 20 minutes a month to sew, and it takes about 30 minutes-ish a month to sew each clue. And so if you are too busy, you've got small children, it's the month of May, and your school is bonkers schedule busy, the busy quilter is perfect for a puzzle mystery quilt. It's also great for a beginning quilter. I know when I was first starting, I struggled out at looking at these beautiful quilt designs and thinking they were too hard for me to do, or I would never be able to get those fabrics. You walk into a quilt shop and you're like, I love that quilt, but they don't have those exact fabrics. And so putting together all those colors is a real struggle for the beginning quilter. Plus, you don't necessarily have a lot of funds to go acquire all the, you know, fancy rotary cutters and rulers and mats. And so the PMQ, literally all you need is a sewing machine and an iron. That's it. And pins, and pins. I'm going to come back to Janice's question, and pins. So pins, a sewing machine, and an iron. And you can put together what looks to be an exceptionally complex quilt that has between 300 and 600 pieces in it. You can do it. You don't have to have a rotary cutter. You don't have to have a mat. You just sit and sew. And so that leads it into also a small space quilter. And so we talked about this in the reveal. If you are someone who is downsizing and moving into an apartment, again, all you need is a sewing machine and an iron, and you can make this quilt. If you're like Crystal and you live in a mobile home, right? You just have a small space. This is great for that. If you're living in an apartment, if you're mobile, if you're a snowbird and you go north to south, this is a great project that just, you can sit and you can sew it and you move to the next one. You can sit, you can sew it, and you move to the next one. And it takes up all of just a little bit of space, and it is perfect for all of that. It's also really good for an experienced quilter. So if every now and then you get to the point where you just want to sit and sew, you don't want to have to think, you don't want to overanalyze anything. You just want to sit and enjoy the sewing process. You don't want to have to iron and cut and find out your short fabric, or make a mistake and kick yourself because you made a mistake cutting and now you need to go get more fabric. And so it's perfect for an experienced quilter who just wants to sit and enjoy the process of sewing. Plus, as quilters age, holding a rotary cutter and cutting accurately becomes a challenge. And so with the PMQ, you don't have to worry about that at all. You don't have to worry about cutting yourself. I've had folks that have gifted this to parents that are in nursing homes that just have access to a sewing machine, but don't have the ability to hold a rotary cutter anymore, but can still sew and still enjoy their passion of doing a puzzle mystery quilt. And then why do people love it? I'm seeing comments. People have done 9, 10, 12 of them. People have done a lot of these programs before. And why? So A, it's easy. You sit, you sew, you have a beautiful quilt when you're done. It's quick. It's perfect for groups. And I see Crystal Foster just joined us, and I know she's participating with a group of people who are all stitching this together. It is a great way for a physical in-person group to participate, but it's also a great way for a virtual group to participate. And so we have 2 members. One is in Washington and one's in Australia, and they have been participating since, I think, probably number 2. And every month they get their clues. They open it up and they get on a Zoom, and it is a great way to build that connection across a giant ocean and just sit and catch up and be able to sew our clues together. Let's see here. It is also the multiple colorways, right? So with some mysteries, you put them together and you're like, I don't like that yellow. Like, where did that come from? You get to pick multiple different colorways. And so we like that because it's one of those flexibilities of the program. And no rotary cutting. And my favorite reason to do the PMQ is that there's no waste. And so I think quilters are in this, okay, so pattern calls for 2 yards. I'm going to buy 3 in case I make a mistake. And it turns out I have a yard left over at the end, but I only wanted to use it for this quilt. Now I've got to stash it. I've got to store it. I've got to come up with a way to catalog it and organize and sort it all together. This program, you get exactly what you need to cut. There's no extra, there's no shortage. If you are short a part and piece, we fix that. That's part of our customer care, is if you short a triangle, we always fix it. Again, we want you to finish these quilts. Okay, All right, so I've talked enough about the whys and the awesomeness of the program. Let's talk about all of the add-ons. So in 1 week's time, so in 1 week from today, there will be early access for those that completed Wild West and for those that completed Floral States of America. And so what happens is if you finish a puzzle mystery quilt, you get a day early to sign up. That's one of those perks of being able to finish those projects is you get a day early to sign up. Now, no colorway has ever sold out on the first day. So I know a lot of people stress out. If you didn't just finish Wild West or Floral States, you're like, oh my gosh, all these people are posting all these colorways. It's going to sell out. Nothing has ever sold out on that first day. That is a good opportunity for those people to sleep in, get the colorways of their choice, get all their purchases made. On the second day, however, I will tell you, on Friday at 7 a.m. Central Time, you have to mark your calendars because we've had colorway sell out in 9 minutes. And I will sit on that screen and I'm going to refresh it. And I'm going to update inventory. And we are going to sell to the amount of fabrics that we've sold. And in that case, some colorways do sell out very quickly. So I'm going to encourage you guys to definitely log on early, make sure you're ready, and make sure you have your colorways picked out. Now, you're going to have a couple of choices when you get to the sign-up screen. So the first and the most important is how would you like to pay for the program? So would you like to prepay and receive all of your fabric at once, which a lot of people opt into, or would you like to pay month to month and receive your clues each month? So let's talk about what that means. And I know we've got a lot of seasoned folks on here that know this answer. But when you prepay, what happens is you get all of your fabric all at once in our lovely little cotton cuts boxes. And inside each one is everything that you need to complete the program. And so we always include an inventory sheet so you know what you're getting. You have your swatch cards so you know what your fabrics all are. And then inside there's individual packages. And I love Legos. I've got 2 boys that love Legos. And so what we do is we package everything you need for each clue, and we put a little sticker on it, and it says clue 1, and this is the fabric you need for clue 1. When it comes time for clue 2, here's how clue 2 is. And by prepaying, you get all your fabric at once. That way, when our clues drop each month, you just check your email, you check our evidence locker, you print your clue, and you can sit and sew. You don't have to wait for the mail to come. You don't have to get a lost package. You don't have to worry if you're out of town and your mail's on hold and it gets lost. You don't have to worry about an address change. You don't have to worry about any of that. Prepay is super convenient. It all comes in one box to you. You can stitch it. You put it right back in the box. On the shelf it goes. And then the next month you bring it right back out. Let's see here. Curious ES, hold on to that question. I promise you I will get to you talking about percentage of each color in the final design. Okay, if you do choose to do month to month, this is what it comes. And each month you'll get a little package like this in the mail. And it has all your triangles, your squares. They're all laid out beautifully. And then it also has your instructions. We're going to ignore this little tape that we put here. But it has your printed instructions in it. So we have some people who really like to receive mail each month. I get it. There's so much joy when you open that mailbox and there's a little box inside and it has your name on it and you get to open it and it's I get it. There are people who like the month-to-month experience because they like getting mail each month. There's also people that really like this printing in a world where, you know, printers are becoming less and less obvious. Some people really like that printed paper clue. And so in that case, this is perfect for them. But each month, and you might have to wait a little longer because sometimes mail gets delayed. Sometimes there's weather disturbances. Sometimes there's staffing shortages and vacations. All that stuff happens, but it still comes to you. And so it comes each month. You'll get it a little bit later than those that prepay, but you still get all 10 of your clues. All right, so your first choice when you go to sign up is, are you going to prepay or are you going to do month to month? The next choice you have is quilt backing. So I want to talk about quilt backing specifically for Under the Sea because we're going to be making some changes to how we do quilt backing for this program. So in the past, we have said, hey, here's this colorway and here's some options for quilt backing. You can pre-order them now and we will ship them with clue 10 at the end. That has worked for every mystery until today. And so the challenge we have is I don't know what the pricing of fabric is going to be for these backing fabrics when we order them in 5 months. We have a lot of economic uncertainty with the pricing of fabric. Most of our manufacturers have already raised their prices about 10%. And so we need to do what's best for everyone. I don't know if in 5 months it's going to be 50%. I don't know if it's going to be 10%, and I don't know if it's going to be 0. None of us can forecast what that's actually going to look like. And so What we're going to do for Under the Sea is we're going to do backing very differently. And so what we're going to do for each colorway is we're going to pick a coordinating wide back fabric. And so a wide back fabric is 108 inches wide. So it's going to be plenty big enough for all of our puzzle mystery quilts. And the decision is going to be simple. Are you doing a small, with or without borders? It won't matter. And you'll get a 2-yard cut of wide back. Or if you're doing a large, you'll get 3-yard cut of wide back. And both of those wide back pieces will be big enough to finish your quilts. We are going to ship that to you at the beginning of the program. So if you prepay and you choose to opt into the wide back, quilt back, we're going to have those all on hand. We're going to have them cut and we're going to mail it all together. So you will get your backing at the beginning of the program. Now, this makes me very nervous for you guys because I know in 10 months, we are going to get a question about, I lost my backing and can you replace it? And I'm going to have to tell you no, and I'm going to be very sorry about that. So it makes me very nervous that we are mailing these backings early instead of at the end when you need them. So please, 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 please make sure that if you're ordering the backings and we're going to ship it with the beginning, you have a safe place to store it. There's some questions coming in here and I want to make sure we talk about them before we move on. So people liking the prepay, Stephanie Smith, there will be an email that comes out on Tuesday with the early access website and the code to get your discount. So Terry's saying those doing flyway don't get early enrollment for Under the Sea. That is true. That is the way it has always been. If you have finished a puzzle mystery quilt, you get a day early access to the next one. If you were doing one in flight, then you will get access to the one that follows. That's always the cycle. So Helen Branch is asking, I think you're asking about for prepaid only, the wide backs, anyone can do the wide back backing. You do not have to prepay. You do not have to do month to month. Anyone can participate in the wide back backing. Now, what's going to happen is we're only going to have a limited number of those wide back backings. We're only going to order a certain amount of fabrics before prices go up, and we're going to have them cut and we're going to have them packaged, and they're going to be ready to go with your first package. If it's prepaid, the blue box. If it's month to month, your first package. When they are sold out, you will then have to wait until the end. Like we always do, we have fabrics that are left over. We'll put you on a wait list and we'll contact you when those are ready. But we won't have the option of here's 3 fabrics and we will send them to you at the end. It's just, there's too much uncertainty, guys. I've been going around and around to make that work. And like I said, if that price goes up 50% in 2 months, and I've already had charged you for a price now, but I don't want to charge you 50% more today and a refund. Like, I've gone through a lot of different scenarios on this, and I think wide backs are going to be a better option for people anyways. And so we've picked coordinating wide backs. They might not be from the same manufacturer, but they're fabrics that when we look at the finished quilt, we think will match. And so we will launch all the wide backs on the website next Thursday. You are going to want to check them out. That's probably the one thing that when they sell out, that's going to be gone. So make sure that you guys, if you want to participate in that and get your fabric early and can track it and hold on to it for 10 months, get in on that. Okay. Yes, Crystal loves our leftover quilts in a box for sure. They are fun. You can just get a mystery in a box and sew it at your own pace. All right, next up, so that's the backing. Then we also will do our border kits to expand our quilts. And so I know a lot of you guys love border kits. I think border kits were a little controversial this time because we had some fabrics that people didn't like, but I mean, that happens every now and then, which is totally fine. If we're sending out 1,200 border kits and some people don't like them, I think we're doing okay. It's just the way of the world. But the border kits will be coordinating fabrics from the same collection as your main mystery quilt. Some of them will be used in the quilts, but then there are other times when we find a border fabric that is a better border fabric than a die cut fabric. To die cut a fabric, we can't have anything that's geometric or directional. It really does cause havoc when we're doing the die cutting. So sometimes there are prints in a collection that are better as a border, and we choose to move them there. The border kits will make your small quilt go from 48 by 60 to 58 by 70. And then the large will be 72 by 72 to 88 by 88. All that information is in the border kit listing, which you will guys see. Stacy is asking, is Flyway considered a puzzle mystery quilt? It definitely is. All right, Marie Singer loves the border kits. And I know Marie Singer loves the border kits because we cut our borders the length, the run of the fabric. So you get a continuous piece. So when you're making your 72 into 88, you are getting an 88-inch piece of fabric continuous. You are not stitching that together. We don't cut them with the fabric. They are definitely cut lengthwise. And so they don't tend to stretch as much. They don't tend to warp, and you don't have to piece anything. Okay, number 4. So we also are going to be doing our Stitch It border kits. And so I can tell you for Under the Sea, the border that goes around the side of the quilt is continuous. There's no tricks in this one. The next one's a different story. I'm not going to tell you anything about that. But so if you want to add more accent, more pizzazz, more oomph, and bring some of the internal elements to the outside, we will also do our Stitch It border kits. So make sure you're looking out for that when you're ordering. We will have our famous Oops kits. These guys, I'm in love with these guys. These are the Oops kits. This is what it looks like. It is a fat eighth of all the fabrics in your collection. And if you don't use it, I'm seeing so much creativity of people putting them on the back, using them to create borders, create accent pillows. It's a good way to get kind of a sampler of the fabrics in your collection so you can see in your colorway, so you can see what they all look like, and then use these after the fact. We've actually had people order like 5 and 6 of these. And you know, I can just call us if you want to do that. We'll send you yardage rather than a lot of 5/8. So if you want to order multiple Oops kits, just reach out to us. We will get that taken care of for you versus all this cutting and folding. Let's see here. Are we okay to get multiple sets? Yes, Stacy. You are in good company. There are lots of people on this list that have done multiple colorways with one puzzle mystery quilt. That is absolutely fine and fantastic. All right, and then the last one is, this is one that, you know, we want to make the kit as complete as possible. So we do Aurifil thread. It'll coordinate with your mystery colorways, and you can definitely, we can add this to your box if you so choose at checkout. All right. We also have our group purchase program. So if you are interested in sewing with a group, and there's a discount if you do 5 and a discount if you do 10, you're going to go to cottoncuts.com/group. There's a little form there. It comes to our team. We collate all of your shipments together and mail them all at once to your group. It saves on shipping for us, but then it also makes sure everyone in your group gets the same thing at the same time. So that way you're not the one straggler off here and 7 of your group members have their mystery quilt and you're stuck off over here and can't participate. We group everything together. That way everyone can sew every month together. Everyone can participate and nobody is left behind. Sylvia, yes, we do have some leftover Oops kits from previous PMQs. Send us an email to help@cottoncuts and we will see if we can help you out there. All right, now here's the part everyone has been waiting for. Is thread only available for prepaid, Greta? That is true, because we pop this into the box and we can do that. It doesn't cost us anything extra to ship it when we pop it right in your box. So Greta, thank you for catching. This is only for the prepaid members. Let's see here. Jen says it lasts forever. Brandy is new and she's asking when the next mystery starts. So it'll start next week, next Friday at 7 a.m. Signups for Under the Sea are going to open on our website, cottoncuts.com/get-started. Crystal, yes, you can definitely order more than one Oops kits. All right. So what we're going to do is I have all of the colorways here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you on the color wheel what the fabrics are, and then I'm going to give you some guidance and some direction for how the colors will play together in the finished design so you can evaluate each color wheel and see which one you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. So this is our purple batiks. And so on this image here, I'm going to see if I can keep kind of some light. So our color wheels are always, always, always set up this way. So the binding fabric is always at the 6 o'clock position on the bottom. So when you're on the website, this is your binding fabric. Now we always get a lot of questions that, hey, you know, there's a fabric it's in there twice, right? And so it's in there twice because sometimes with the binding fabric, we also pull a fabric from the actual quilt. And so, but other times we pick a binding fabric that we like that's perhaps stripes. Can't die cut stripes, guys. It's going to be bonkers if we try and do that. So what we'll do is we'll use stripes for a binding if we really like it. But in this case, you can see fabric E is the same as the binding. Then the fabrics are labeled, clockwise around. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. It has been this way since the beginning of time, since we've started using these. It's always binding at the 6 o'clock and then clockwise around, clockwise, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, so as we go through each colorway, I want to give you kind of some tips and some tricks as you're looking at the colors to be able to pick out your fabrics. So this one is interesting in that the fabrics are all evenly used throughout the final quilt design. And so sometimes I'll tell you like, hey, C is dominant or D is dominant. In this case, we ordered roughly the same amount of yardage of all of the fabrics. So as you're looking at it, there's not really one that is more predominant than another. However, there are those that do stand out a little bit more when you're looking at the final designs. So for example, fabric B is going to be a large border element for you. So consider B to be something that you're going to see a lot of around the outside. C and D, so these two fabrics on the top, these are going to be paired as a background fabric. So sometimes when we talk about this, I'm like, oh, hey, fabric A is our background fabric. It is going to be in the back of all of it. We have two background fabrics this time because Sheila likes to keep everyone guessing and on your toes. And so fabrics C and D are paired together and will form the background of the quilt. A is your blender. It is going to be a connector. It'll be in the quilt, but it'll make everything blend and play well together. And then the last thing I will tell you is that B and E, these two fabrics here, B and E, are the ones that stand out in the quilt. And so in all the designs, when we've looked at them, B and E are the fabrics that we see the most. However, everything is equally used. So that is what I will tell you. So I would say, sometimes we have months where we go along and like you'll be at like month 5 and finally you see, fabric F. It's not the case this time. Everything is evenly used throughout the quilt. However, certain colors play together and then certain colors tend to stand out more. Now, this one is deceptive because B and E are the bright saturated colors. So even when I hold up the will, those are the two that you see. Some of the colorways, the B and E, are not the brightest, most saturated colors. However, they are the ones that make the colors pop. All right, Stacy's asking, is there a way to make prior PMQ kits? Yes. So if you go to the website and search Quilt in a Box, I think we have Old Wild West up there now. I think we might have 1 or 2 flyways, and definitely go to the website. So Curious ES, yes, those rules I just gave you are the same for all the colorways. So fabric B is going to be a large border element. B and E are going to be what make key design elements pop. C and D will be paired as a background, and then A is kind of the connect it all together. Okay, that is all I'm going to tell you guys about the choices because it's a surprise. It's a mystery. So let's talk about the colorways and their final namings. So this is Medusa. So this is batiks. I know we get asked a lot of questions like, can you tell us which collections are the batiks and which ones are not? So this is Medusa. Medusa is a batik and it is named after okay, so this is funny. So Paula gave me, I'm going to show you guys little cheat sheets on the back is defining what the name is. And when I say Medusa, I typically think of the Greek god with the snakes and the mirrors and the stone. But it's actually a biological term for a jellyfish. So that's what we're going with for under the sea. It's a biological term for a jellyfish, Medusa. And so it is batiks. Next up, so this one is Art Gallery. This is Ghostly and Haunted. So this is going to be a Halloween themed quilt. You can see it's got some of the ravens. It's got some cute little kitty cats as well. And so this one, by overwhelming, you guys picked this one. We did not see this one coming at all. Davy Jones' Locker. And so it's the bottom of the sea. It's a resting place for lost sailors. And so this is Davy Jones's Locker. Janine, how much does it cost? That's a great question. It is on the website. I'm sorry. That's one of those ones. It will be the same price as Flyaway. We are not raising the price on the actual mystery quilt because we were able to order our fabrics before all the prices went up. So Sylvia is asking for this one. So it is C and D, A, B, C, and D. So these two pair together and form the backdrop of the mystery quilt. All right. Paula just sent me a note. This is why it's good to have Paula around. So for monthly, it'll be $20.25 for the small. And then for the large, it'll be $30.50 a month. And there's a slight discount if you prepay. All of that will be on the website in very, very short order. All right, let's get back to Davy Jones's Locker. So Sylvia, you can see in this case, right, 2 prints, they are going to coordinate and make your background. However, this print here and this print here is going to be what makes those certain key feature design elements pop. Because as you can see, the other colors in here, these form the major design elements of the quilt. All right, yes, Davy Jones's Locker. And it carries themes of depth, mystery, danger, and the unknown. All right. Next up, we have Marina, right? This feels very Marina-like. This is very blue. And this is Deep Blue Sea by Hoffman. This is, again, a batiks collection as well. We have 3 total batiks collections for this mystery. I know people like batiks. Batiks are the same price for us. When it comes to wholesale pricing, batiks and cottons are about the same price. So there's no real reason for it to be a different price at all. Marina comes from the Latin words marinus, meaning of the sea or belonging to the sea. And it's a harbor for boats and yachts, which this feels very much like. So yes, this is our batiks colorway. Next up, so we have Dristone. So this is Conway Cottage. It's actually really subtle. And the quilt itself, I was doing a lot of work on this for the past couple of days. The quilt itself is a very subtle quilt as well. But as you can see, these 2 colors are going to define the design elements in the quilt. And these two on the top, if I can figure out where my hands go, are going to form our background as well. So this one's very subtle. Driftstone is something solid but shaped by the sea, a driftstone. Are there any fabrics, especially in the batiks, where the repeat is not represented in the swall swatch? I've had issues with that in the past. So that is a fantastic question. Because we're showing you these images and we're giving you just a little wheel. Let me get something that has a higher contrast here so we can show a little bit more. Let me get something that has a little higher contrast against the white. So in these cases, right, so we're showing you a little swatch of these fabrics, right? And so we're doing the best we can, right? It's graphic, it's pretty. People like the color wheels. It's a great way to see all the fabrics next to each other, especially in a quilt like this where they're all evenly distributed. But I can tell you, for example, this fabric right here, this is a haunted house scene. And so it has a lot of different elements to it. What I would suggest is if this is a concern to you and you want to make sure that you're able to see all the prints completely, like this raven here, is go to the website for the designer collection and click on it and actually pull up a larger version of what some of these swatches are. I can tell you, like, the cats are what the cats are. Those are definitely cat faces. But I can tell you this haunted mansion is part of more of a graphic scene. And so you're going to get more elements, more kind of different elements of that, depending on how it's die cut and used in the quilt. All right, great question. Thank you so much for Love Loathingly. All right, here we go. So this is Black Pearl. Gosh, we gotta get some, let's see, Marina again, then fabric that'll be prominent. Okay, we'll go back. We'll do Marina. We've had a question. This is Marina. And so these 2 fabrics here are gonna do the design elements. That's what's gonna make you see them. They're not necessarily prominent because everything is used evenly. You're just gonna see these in the design elements. This fabric here is going to be one of the borders. And then these 2 guys here are going to form your background. This one's going to be your kind of connector fabrics. Let's see here. What you can do, Love Loathingly, is asking more about the fabrics and being able to see all of it, is you can send us a note and our team will actually send you the specific reorder numbers so you can look at them as well. I think on this, I mean, if you're referring to this batik, this pretty much shows everything that can be seen in it. Batiks usually have a smaller scale repeat just given the wax relief, so it's usually easier for us to represent them fairly. When it does come to the larger prints like that Halloween, it's hard. I mean, we would shrink it down and then you wouldn't be able to see it at all on the computer. Okay, we're getting back to this. So this is Black Pearl. This is Collection Still by Libs Elliott for Andover. A Black Pearl is a rare, naturally occurring gem found in black-lipped oysters. I did not know black-lipped oysters was a thing. Oh, thank you, Helen. I appreciate that. And it's typically found in deep or tropical ocean waters. So as you can see, these 2 guys here are going to form our major design elements. This guy's going to be our connector, clearly, because you can't even really see it on the card. Go to the website. You can definitely see it on the website. And then these 2 guys are going to connect together and form kind of our background colors. All right, next up, we have Kaif from Free Spirit. And so this quilt is blue, right? It's one of these under the sea. We had to have a blue colorway. We were missing it for a while. And I was like, Sheila, we can't do an under the sea quilt without something blue. And so we found a whole bunch of Kaif that we loved. And this one's called Atlantis. And it was first described by Greek philosopher Plato. A highly advanced island civilization that mythically sank into the ocean. So Terry is saying her granddaughter chose this collection and her room is pink. I think it's going to look fantastic. I think this in a pink room would be awesome. So again, these 2 colors are going to form our design elements. As I said, sometimes it's not always the 2 most saturated colors, right? You can tell this one right here at this finger is definitely less saturated than the colors that are going to form our background. And so in this, it's an inverse of the others. It is visualization by subtraction. So where the other ones will pop at you, this one's going to be prevalent by going into the quilt, which is definitely why color choice matters. And when we looked at the finished designs, the color choice will have a big impact on the final design. So Crystal, this is a fantastic point. So sometimes we have directional prints, and she's saying she thought they would be an issue overall, but when she's chosen kits that have it in it, it's one of those, once it's finished, you can't really tell it's directional. You can't really, and she loves it and says, be adventurous and go for it. So thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. So this is Atlantis, the great lost city of Atlantis. All right. So this is Turkey Red from Whistler. This is a traditional reproduction fabric, which, guys, I've never really gone for our traditional reproduction fabrics, but every single time they make my favorite quilts. So if you want to go way outside your comfort zone, and you, like me, would probably never pick up any of these fabrics at a quilt store, this is a good opportunity to try something new, go outside your comfort zone, let us do all the design work and the cutting, and then you'll have a finished quilt, and we will see where you go with that. So Shipwrecked is the name of this colorway, and it... Okay, so if I was to tell you to define shipwrecked, you would probably say it refers to a vessel that has been damaged or destroyed at sea, often sinking beneath the waves. That's what it means to be shipwrecked, people. I oftentimes think of shipwrecked more as kind of a person that's stranded on an island. But yeah, so here, this is the fantastic colorway. As you guys can see, again, these are going to be more, make the design elements pop. These are going to be our backgrounds. And this guy here, unlike the ones we've seen previously, this one's got a dark fabric that's going to connect it all together for you. So this is Shipwrecked. All right. Then we have, this is Scandi from McCower. So it is Dainty Scandinavian Christmas. This is our on the nose Christmas. Sometimes we do a more subtle Christmas. Sometimes we do something more direct. This one was more direct this time. And this one is called Scarlet Reef. This was the colorway name that was chosen. And so I read this definition in preparation for the show, and I feel like we kind of have to have a discussion about this. It is bold red life within a snowy coral reef. So can someone help me understand what a snowy coral reef is? Is this like a coral reef that exists in the poles and in the cold, frigid water? And then a bold red life. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. We can discuss this for the next 10 months. And what is a bold red life, and where are these snowy coral reefs? And so Scarlet Reef is the name of this colorway. And as you can see, again, these two prints that are designing, that are the design elements, are not the brightest, most saturated prints. And this is our connector, and these are our backgrounds. So you can see, even as we're talking about the color wheels, you're going to get a very different quilt with this one. Can you move the card over, as I can't see the whole block? Yes, I most definitely can. There's a question on Instagram. So I'm doing this, but I need to do more of this. I apologize. Again, all these color wheels are on the website. You can definitely see them. Tell them what?
They picked.
Oh, okay. Paula is, Scarlet Reef is vexing Paula too, but you guys love Scarlet Reef, so that's what it is. Because you guys get to pick the colorway names. That's how it works. All right. Next up. So this is Anna Green Gables. All right. So this one is soft. It is blue and it is olive, and it will sell out quickly. So if this is your jam, you guys need to get on the website, because this one is going to sell out quickly. I don't know how much more of this we can get. This is from Riley Blake, and it is called Oasis. When I first heard Oasis, I was thinking A, the band, B, kind of Mirage Oasis, but it's actually in the sense of an ocean. It becomes a symbol of hidden sanctuary, like a vibrant coral reef, a quiet lagoon, a lush kelp forest, or an underwater grotto, or perhaps, as we've discussed, that snowy coral reef is an oasis. Okay, so these colors, again, these are going to be the things that make the design element pop. Here we have a contrast in our background, and then this guy here is our connector fabric. Okay, then we have our last batik. So this is a Hoffman batik. This one is called Triton, who is the son of Poseidon, not to be confused with Percy Jackson. For those of you, let's see here. We see too much wall over your head. Yes, so give us a second, Quilted by Sue. We will get this sorted so you guys can see it. Let's try that and see how that works. Okay. So this one is called Triton, who's the son of Poseidon, god of the sea. And it can be a piece that feels legendary, like something discovered in an ancient undersea temple. And so again, here's our pieces that these pieces here are what defines our design elements. These are our background, and then this is our connector. So you can see our connector is not light here. It is definitely a darker color. So this will feel darker when it is done. Have you seen coral reef with the critters that have feelers to catch food in the water? Maybe it looks snowy. Possibly. I feel like this is, when the kids are here this summer, Lincoln and Dominic, I need to ask them to define what a snowy coral reef is to us. All right. This is Calypso. So we always try to do a colorway that's bright and that's cheery and that is more like primary colors, because kids typically like these types of quilts. They like the crayon colors because those are what they typically connect to more. Plus adults like this too. Let's be honest. Like, this is a fantastic colorway for adults too. This is Ruby and Bee Blenders from Heather Ross for Wyndham Fabrics. And this name is called Calypso. And so this is something that when I was like Calypso, like, again, that's a type of island music. It's not exactly under the sea, guys. But when they were talking about, in this case, the goddess, or a muse perhaps, that is held Odysseus on her island for years with her beauty and charm. And it describes mystery, longing, enchantment, and the sea's power to soothe and to trap. What does the F do overall? That is, I haven't talked about F by design. F is there just to kind of, it doesn't, I don't want to give too much away, Crystal, right? I felt like I was giving you guys too much in what I was telling you, but I didn't want to do I didn't want to give all the secrets away, right? Then it's not a mystery if I give you guys all the answers. So I'm not going to tell you what F does. Okay. So in this case, you guys can see in this, the yellow and the green are going to define the major design elements. These are going to be our background, and this is going to be our connector fabric. So this one is going to be very different as well. All right. Full Bloom by Heather Bailey for Figo Fabrics. This one's called Sea Bloom, which is a palette that evokes sun-dappled waters, blooming reefs, and a playful mermaid spirit. As I've looked at this quilt many, many times over the past week, I definitely get a playful mermaid spirit. This quilt, just so you guys know, is going to be very, very bright. Compared to the others, this one is very, very bright. And so you can see these two colors that I'm pointing are to do the design elements. These guys are going to be our background, as I'm losing here. These ones are our background. And then this guy here, this yellow, is our connector. And so just given the background and the connector fabrics that are the light and the neons and the brights, this is going to be a very, very bright quilt when it gets done. This is not tame. This is not for the tame of heart. And these fabrics are very graphic. This is going to be fun if that is your thing. Can you show us a quilt and tell us where the design elements are, etc.? So Del Marie, I can't show you guys the finished design. That would be cheating. I can tell you that just major design elements in the quilt are going to be defined for those two fabrics. Janine Spencer, what if you do want it to be queen size? So if you want it to be queen size, I suggest getting the large and adding the border kits to it. That's going to make it 88 by 88, depending on how much drape you want your quilt to have. You may need to add more borders, but 88 by 88 is usually enough to make a coverlet for a queen size quilt. Every time I've tried to find up standard size bed quilts, I always get different dimensions. So I think it's really making sure you're making it for your queen size quilt. If you've got tall sleepers like I do, they definitely need it to be longer so their feet don't stick out the end. And I'm always having to add more borders to add it there. Crystal's saying too much pink, more green is needed. So it's actually this one. I can tell you that the pink is not the primary color in this one when you see it. When can you buy the fabric? Brandy says signups will open next week, Friday at 7 a.m. Set your alarm. You're going to want to be there. A quilt made in the past. Oh, so Del Marie, so it's also different as well because of the different designs. I can just tell you for this one, it's almost like I'm telling you guys too much. It's just certain design elements pop in this one with those two fabrics. And when you look at them, and I've looked at all of them, studied them to kind of give you guys this guidance, there's just certain design elements in the way that it's made that pop out. And so I know, Del Marie, you've done a lot of previous PMQs. I would say there's like this way and that way. There were certain design elements that kind of came out at you that were more kind of out in the quilt. The very first one we did, there was kind of a double helix that popped depending on the fabric. So it's just there's design elements that pop when you look at those fabrics. All right, I saved the best for last. All right, this is going to be the most popular one. We will be cutting a lot of this fabric. And so this is Full Moon Forest by Tula Pink for Free Spirit. This one, Lunatide, is what its official name is going to be. Lunatide is moonlit in the sea. It evokes a sense of gentle power, rhythm, and mystery. And it feels dreamy, fluid, and connected to natural forces. And so this is the Tula Pink colorway. This one, we're going to do a lot of this one. I can't answer that question, Crystal, about medallion or not without giving too much away. I can tell you that there will be surprises. Let's just keep it at that. You guys are asking me too many questions. I'm going to stop giving you hints. Okay, so these two are going to be the design features. These little soft greens are going to be the background, and this soft purple with, I believe those are trout, those are fishes, are going to be the connecting elements on this one. And so I believe we had a question a little bit ago about that this fabric was not repeated, and that's because this binding is standalone. And so for this design, we picked that binding, and we didn't choose one of the fabrics from the main quilt to be the binding. But yeah, that's how that's going to look. It's going to be amazing and beautiful together. All right, those are all the colorways, gang. They are all on the website now. You can go look at the names. You can also blow up salmon. Thank you, Greta. It is salmon. I should have known that. Let's see here. Let me get to my notes so I can make sure that I give you guys all the deets, all the information, all the updates. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so that's all the colorways. Go to the website. You can make those color wheels bigger so you can zoom in on all the fabrics and make sure you're as informed as possible. We don't want you guys to be surprised in a negative way. So we want to make sure that you guys are making informed buying decisions when you're putting this much money into a quilt and you're making something that we hope you love. Signups. For everyone, as a quick reminder, next week on Thursday, it is an early access for those that just finished Wild West and those that finished Floral States. You will get a special website, a secret website. You will have a code for a discount if you prepay. That website will only be up for 24 hours. And then everyone on Friday at 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time. We are in Daylight Savings Time, so make sure that you're setting your right time if you live outside the United States. I would hate for you to have to set your alarm, get up and realize you're an hour off in either direction. But definitely set your alarm. Some of these colorways are going to sell out very quickly. You're going to want to get on there. Make sure you have a good sense for the add-ons that you'd like as well. That you know if you're going to prepay, you're going to do month to month, if you're going to do borders, if you're going to do the stitch it border, all that stuff. Make sure that you have all that sorted out ahead of time. It'll help make the checkout process smoother for you. And then that is the Curious ES asked the best question. Thank you so much. And then when does this all actually ship? And so the date on when it ships is, and I had it written down, is July 30th. What date is Clue 1? July 25th is when the first Clue ships. And so July 25th is when the first email will go out with Clue 1 instructions. And it'll also be the date that Clue 1 ships and leaves from here. We are, like I said, there were some concerns about prepaids. Those have lagged in the past 2 mysteries just because it's been so much fabric. We have 2 machines here. We have a ton of people. And so prepay should be able to be out early and ahead of time. We will communicate as that comes up. But with everything that we have in place, we should be able to get that out sooner and faster. So Stacy's asking about prepay. The instructions come to you via email, and you also have access to the evidence locker, which you have access to 24/7. You can go in there, you can download a clue, and you can stitch it. All right, mercifully, have I gotten everything, Paula? I am getting the nod of approval. That never happens, so I will take this as a win. And so thank you guys all so much for joining me. This is one of my favorite shows. I get to give you kind of the behind the kimono, kind of thank you guys for asking questions and pulling the limits, but I have to cut you guys off. It still is a mystery. We still want you guys to be surprised. All right, that is it for me, guys. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next week on Thursday, where we'll have another fantastic show.
Our question today is, what is your favorite summer treat to bake?
We'll pick one lucky winner to win $25 gift card to our shop.
Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy sewing, and we will see you soon. Bye now. And cut. Thank you so much for watching our video. We have so much fun making these, and we hope that you were both delighted and inspired by what you just watched. This video was sponsored by Cotton Cuts. Cotton Cuts is your one stop for all the best fabric and thread memberships. Love fabric? We've got you covered. Love thread? We've got you covered. We get that no 2 quilters are cut from the same cloth, which is why our memberships are as unique as you. We also have the largest block of the month in the world. Over 4,000 detectives solve our puzzle mystery quilts every year, and you can join them. Simply go to cottoncuts.com to learn more about all the awesome and fun things that we're doing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all of our new fresh content every time it comes out. Thank you so much. Happy sewing enthusiasts, and we will see you soon. Bye now.